Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Lady Law Minis. As promised last week when we discussed one way that you can immigrate to the US through an EB-1 immigrant visa or green card petition, we're going to be discussing a different way through which you can use EB-1 rules and regulations. The law provides that if you do not fit under the category we discussed last week, and for example, you have not won an Olympic medal or an Oscar or a Nobel Prize, there are other ways to show you are a person of extraordinary ability, as they call such individuals under the immigration law. The law provides 10 criteria. Out of these 10 criteria, you must at least be able to meet 3. Preferably, you do not just want to have 3. And out of these criteria, not all 10 of them apply to specific fields or to your field. And EB1 is available to many fields such as sciences, arts, athletics, business, and therefore you will see which one of these criteria best fit into your profession. And sometimes you can use comparable evidence for certain of these criteria. And out of those 10 criteria, usually there are a few that hold great importance, such as awards or medals, publications that have talked about you or your work, membership in organizations that have strict membership requirements that not everybody can join, you acting or having acted as a judge of work of others in your field or evaluator of work of others in your field. In some of these professions, having authored or published your own work in major media publications. There are some other areas that, for example, for our movie industry, theater, TV, artists, we can show, and that's festivals or exhibitions, places that have exhibited and showcased your work. And then there are other criteria that usually, based on the profession you have, you might or may not be able to show. Now, once USCIS has determined that you meet a minimum of those 3 requirements, we go back to the discussion we had last week when we were talking about our Olympic medalist, and that is USCIS then comes and says, now I'm going to do a final determination. Now I'm going to look at your case as a whole and say, okay, they meet the minimum 3 requirements. Now, are you still at the top percentage of your field? Are you still continuing your work in your field and your success? Remember, we talked about awards and success, and everything that you do cannot be so far in the past that you're no longer really at the peak or at the top of your field currently. Another thing that they want to see is that your entry to the US will substantially benefit the US prospectively. So you have to come up with ways to be able to articulate that with your attorney or yourself when you are providing your petition. And that, again, you've sustained your claim, and that's very important to them as well. So if you are able to meet all of those requirements or be able to show those requirements beyond what they call a preponderance of evidence, then you might be able to have a successful EB1 case. EB1 cases are very volume heavy, they are very intricate, they do have their own requirements, and you want to make sure that you prepare a solid, detailed, brief and supporting documents to be able to give yourself the best chances of success for having a petition approved. A side note for EB1, the good news is, as far as timing goes, EB1 is one of those cases that you are allowed to do premium processing to facilitate a much faster adjudication, whether it be approval, hopefully, or denial of your case when your case is with USCIS. Now, this does not in any way affect your application for adjusting your status if you're within the US or your consular processing. This just saves you that initial time that might take to review an EB1 petition, which could be months, or we've had cases that have been over a year, to an initial response of 15 days from the time USCIS receives your petition. And if there are more documents needed, then from the time they receive those documents, another 15 days, they are required to respond to you. If you guys have any specific questions about EB1, please send it to us. But like I said, each one of these criteria alone will require their own video, and we will try to do our best to provide information. Maybe we'll do a video on an example of a successful EB1 in a certain field that you can apply to your own field. Now, in the coming weeks, we're going to be talking about EB5s, investment green cards, E2s, investment visas. We've been asked a lot of questions about DVs or lottery green cards, so we'll be discussing those in some other areas as well. As always, thank you so much for giving us your time. And until the next episode, hope you have a great day or night wherever you are.